Okay, let's start things off. So, as I said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Rian van der Vyver. I'm the Chief Investment Officer and Compliance Custodian at Wealth Migrate. And as usual, on a Wednesday afternoon, we've got a Wealthy Wednesday Lunch and Learn. And today we are focusing on compliance and risk management. Scott can unfortunately not be here this afternoon. So since I'm the compliance custodian, he asked me if I could facilitate today's lunch and learn. As you know, the whole idea of the lunch and learn sessions is that I will present between 15 to 20 minutes, and then we will open the floor for any questions. Now, I want to talk about compliance and risk management, not from a, let's call it, legislative point of view, but more importantly, from how compliance and risk management safeguard your investments as a potential investor in investment opportunities on the Wealth Migrate marketplace. So if you start off, and if I can give you a few things that you need to look at when you select a marketplace like Wealth Migrate. Now, just to recap quickly, Wealth Migrate is a global marketplace for alternative asset classes. And when we talk about alternative asset classes, we talk about commercial real estate or property. We talk about structured notes. We talk about venture capital and private equity. And we talk about ESG investments such as solar panel investments. And what we do is we go and source investment opportunities, which is vetted or due diligence. And that's what we covered the last time I presented at Lunch and Learn. And then we offer those investment opportunities on the marketplace for investors to invest in. So if you need to evaluate a marketplace such as Wealth Migrate or similar to Wealth Migrate, what are the key things, I think, from a risk perspective that you need to take into consideration? So the first one is investor protection is key. What do I mean by that? So you need to make sure that when you invest, that you are protected as an investor, either by investing in a recognized financial product, let's call it equities, shares, unit trust or collective investment schemes, 401k schemes, bonds, derivatives, those kind of things. Those are all regulated and known financial products. Why that is important is, should something go wrong with the investment opportunity you're invested in, that financial product is regulated, which means that you as an investor are protected through legislation. So nobody can come and say it's a non-regulated product, so you don't have any recourse. So investor protection in terms of legislation is very important. The second thing that you need to understand very well when you look at a marketplace or an investment platform is who has the custody of investor funds. Is it the administrator of the marketplace? Is it an external cash custodian? And if we talk about an external cash custodian, it is typically a nominee company or a payment service provider outside of the group of that digital marketplace provider. And we strongly recommend that you work with digital marketplaces where the cash custody or the control or the receipt of investor funds get done by an external party that's duly registered and duly regulated. That just makes sure that the digital marketplace provider do not have access to investor funds. And that's just another safeguarding mechanism. The other aspect that I think is quite important is who's the custodian of your investment. So I'll just use a simple example. If you, let's say, buy and sell equities You need to have a stockbroking account with a stockbroker. You then fund your stockbroking account, and you then need to fund that account, and then you give an instruction to that stockbroker to say, let's say, buy Apple for you. That stockbroker then is the custodian of your investment in Apple. In other words, it's the custodian of your share certificate of your investment in Apple. So the key point with the digital marketplaces is that you want a third party to be the custodian of your investments in, let's say, a property transaction. The reason for that is you want to segregate or split the risk of the operations and the continuance of the digital marketplace from your investments. So in other words, let's say something goes wrong and the administrator of your digital marketplace is not around anymore, that your investments are safe, and that there's a third party that's the custodian of your investments that can still go to the sponsor of a commercial real estate deal to say we are representing the investor. So that's quite important. Then, from an investment structure perspective, so what we mean by that is, if there is a property investment opportunity on the marketplace, what is the structure, how you as an investor obtain your investment within that commercial real estate deal? And the key point there is you want that investment structure to ring fence one investment opportunity from another investment opportunity. So that, let's say, something go wrong in investment opportunity 1, that the creditors there cannot make a claim against your investment in investment opportunity 2. So that's quite important. And then lastly, at WealthMigrate, our marketplace is enabled or driven by our own proprietary technology. Why it's so important that a marketplace has its own technology is simply that it limits mistakes or error, the error rate. If it is a digital marketplace which is sourced in from another service provider, the administrator of that marketplace cannot control, let's call it the service levels, developments, and so on. And if you're not in control of that, it means that the mistakes or the error rate in terms of transactions of that marketplace could potentially increase. And that's why we decided at WealthMigrate right at the beginning, when we started the marketplace in 2013, that we want our own proprietary technology. 1, we can drive the investor journey and experience. We control the developments and tech development that we need, and we can limit that error rate. So those are the 5 things that I would strongly recommend that you consider when you, let's say, evaluate a digital marketplace or an investment platform for investments. Now, if I can tell you at WealthMigrate how we do it. So first of all, WealthMigrate is approved with the South African regulator, the Financial Services Conduct Authority, and we're in the process of applying for our FSCA, which is the UK regulator, for approval. When you invest in an investment opportunity, we take all the investors, we aggregate them into a UK LLP. You as an investor become a member or an equity holder of that UK LLP. What that then means is that you own equity in an LLP, and shares is an approved financial product or a defined financial product. So that means that you as an investor are protected by legislation in terms of that investment, but more importantly, we as WealthMigrate are accountable for our actions and to protect your best interests. So that's quite important. Then you will see the name Lemonway on the right-hand side. Lemonway is a European payment service provider, and they are our external cash custodian. So what happens is if you are a member on our marketplace, you then have a wallet. You make a deposit from your bank account into your wallet, and that cash custody, in other words, the control of your wallet, the cash in your wallet, that is the responsibility of Lemonway. And Lemonway is also regulated by the French regulator. So we don't have, as WealthMigrate, control over investor funds. Then you will see the name Alpha Cube Capital. Alpha Cube Capital is a discretionary portfolio manager. And as a discretionary portfolio manager, we then give instructions to Lemonway in terms of person A or investor A want to invest in this investment opportunity, move the funds. So you've got this extra level of governance where a portfolio manager is giving instructions to an external cash custodian. Then also Ramsey Krugel. Ramsey Krugel is the stockbroker in the Isle of Man that we're using as to settle structured notes. Remember, structured notes are listed instruments. So Ramsey Krugel is the nominated stockbroker for structured notes. Once again, Ramsey Krugel act as custodian for structured notes, and also they receive the investment funds for an investment into a structured note. So you've got external cash custody. Now, as you are aware, WealthMigrate is a true global marketplace. In other words, it offers deals or investment opportunities from the US, UK, Europe, Australasia. So in other words, global investment opportunities to members in about 170 countries. So because we're global, there's multiple levels of compliance that need to take place before we can make an investment in, let's say, a commercial real estate deal in Portugal. So normally when investors see compliance, they think of KYC, know your client, anti-money laundering legislation. But compliance to safeguard your investment happens at far more levels than just a client due diligence. So for us, the first level of compliance is the normal know your client, customer due diligence. In other words, do we know who we are dealing with? The second level of compliance is where, let's say, there's someone from Australia that wants to become an investor in a Portugal real estate investment. We need to make sure that we can accept an investor from Australia compliantly. So in other words, in terms of Australian legislation, what do we need to look for when accepting an investor from Australia or India or UAE, for example? The third level of compliance that takes place is if we have a commercial real estate deal in Portugal, we need to make sure that the investment structure we're using so that we can make an investment into that commercial real estate deal on behalf of our investors are compliant with the legislation in that country. And then the last level of compliance that we have is because money get moved cross-border, we need to make sure that we can move money compliantly between countries. So multiple levels of compliance, which ensures that our investment structuring and how we deal with our investors are compliant with legislation and regulation, which once again protect you as an investor. Now, how it works is that the internal compliance team at WealthMigrate will conduct research on the compliance matters. Then it goes to an external solicitor or legal an attorney that basically verify or vet the work that's been done by the internal team. And then it goes to Lemonway's external legal advisors to also vet that the research is correct and that it does comply with in-country legislation. And then the last thing that I just want to mention is in terms of risk management, privacy of information is so important. So we take data protection very seriously. So in other words, our security protocols are of such a nature that we are in compliance with protection of personal information at all levels. So how does that then relate into how we safeguard funds for investors? As I said, we don't do cash custody ourselves. We've got external cash custodians who takes control and have access to investor funds, and they have the relevant regulatory approvals, i.e. Lemonway. Then we separate operational accounts from investor accounts. So your investment funds are never deposited into, let's say, a Wealth Migrate operational bank account. So that segregation of bank accounts is equally important. Then, for each and every investment opportunity or deal we do, we make use of a UK LLP. That's a legal entity by itself. That means we are ring-fencing each deal. This means that in deal one, the investment in deal one is segregated or ring-fenced from deal two, which means that there cannot be cross-company creditor claims if a deal goes wrong. Then that UK LLP that we use for aggregation purposes, there's corporate members or legal entities responsible for the administration and management of that UK LLP. What that means is the administration, the business administration and operation of the UK LLP is not done by individuals. It means continuity in terms of the administration and the management of the UK LLP. As I said as well, the category 2 or the portfolio manager with its specific licensing is another form of governance and control. So I think that's quite important. So not only do we have legislation, regulation and external cash custodians, but you've got a portfolio manager that also have control and governance oversight over investment process, procedures, and so on. Then quite importantly is that the category 2 or the portfolio manager, discretionary portfolio manager is the custodian of your investments into, let's say, commercial real estate, into private equity, into solar panel investing. So should something happen commercially with Wealth Migrate, your investments are safeguarded and there's an external licensed service provider that holds your investments on your behalf and that can then engage with sponsors or the manager of those commercial real estate deals so that your investments are safe, you keep continuing your distribution, and so on. And then lastly, because we're at 20 past, we also, when we list our investment opportunities on our marketplace, we provide a risk rating to investors of our deals. So in other words, we tell you, what do we think is the risk-return characteristics of this investment opportunity or deal? And as you know, the lower the risk, the lower the return. The higher the risk, the higher the return. We like to play and offer predominantly deals in the core and the core plus space, for example. But this is conservative, moderate conservative, moderate risk and high risk. And you will see on the marketplace that we clearly indicate what is the risk profile of an investment opportunity. So that concludes my presentation for today. So please, if you have any questions, any comments, please do not hesitate. So I just want to see there's some chats. Okay, so Eric, hello Eric from Switzerland. Ross Steele said, just a question, how long is this webinar? It's 30 minutes. Paula says, fabulous overview. Thank you, Rian. Thank you for that. Then we've got a question. I heard Lemonway is now using the Ripple Ledger for cross-border payments. How does it affect deposits made in South Africa in terms of timeframes? Okay, Cecil, the key point here is that once you open up your profile, you need to get it KYC'd. The moment it's KYC'd, you need to fund your wallet. Now, what we've done is historically, we found that investors or members struggle to fund their wallets. So typically what we're doing is we've now on the marketplace, we've done how-to videos. So we've used an example for Standard Bank, for FNB, for Discovery, on how you should fund your wallet. And just to give you an idea, I recently funded my wallet and it took 2 days from Absa into Lemonway with Banco Sabadell in terms of the movement of money. So the time frames, I would say maximum 3 days. My experience was 2 days, but the key point is if you've got the support to basically know how to fund your wallet, typically it doesn't take long, but it's also not only a function of the Ripple Ledger, but it's also a function of the local bank and any intermediary banks that's been used. So I've answered that question. Are there any other questions? Let me just see. We still have 16 participants on. It doesn't seem if there's any questions. Let me just see. Yeah, there's no further questions. So if there's no further questions or comments, 1:25, I just want to close off by just reminding you of some of the opportunities that you can pursue. So as you know, Scott and Wealth University conducts the Investor Roadmap. The Investor Roadmap is a 4-hour session where Scott and team takes you through the entire investor journey from identifying your needs, creating a plan, using the platform and earning distributions. So we start off first by why should you consider using the marketplace and global alternative asset classes? Then we look at what do we do? And we've discussed risk and compliance. We've spoken about due diligence before, and then how it works. In other words, how do you register, create a profile, invest, and earn a distribution? Apart from that, we also have an Investing 5.0 masterclass where you can learn 4 important lessons from the wealthiest investors on how to invest in uncertain times and what you can do right now, given all this volatility, negative equity markets, political instability. So, and this is for whether you're a high net worth, a sophisticated or a beginner, Investing 5.0 is definitely for you. We also have the Diversification 5.0 masterclass. And this is how can I obtain diversification within my portfolio? And here we've taken lessons from the wealthiest sophisticated investors. So things you normally have to pay for through, let's say, a family office, we're bringing this to you through this masterclass. If you're interested, you can take the following next steps to register for each of these potential masterclasses or the Investor Roadmap, or we also have starter packs within Wealth Migrate, where you pay $197, and $100 of that is a voucher, which you can use to invest on the marketplace. And then, of course, if you say, you know what, I know it all, I want to start investing in your investment opportunities, you can become a member by signing on to wealthmigrate.com. We've got Ross, you've got a question. I am going to ask Shane to reach out to you just with some more information on these, as well as the costing and so on. So I've just made a note of that. And then we've answered Cecile or Cecil Beekes's question. So it seems to me if that's that for today. So once again, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. And, you know, compliance seems daunting. It sounds boring, but it's very important to ensure that things are done correctly, i.e. from a legislative and a regulatory point of view, which means that you as an investor are protected. And that's a key part of risk management in terms of your investments, not only in global alternative asset classes, but in general. So I would like to thank you for your time. Oh, I see Paula's raised her hand. Paula, I don't know if you can ask your question, but can you maybe type it for us, please, in the Q&A box? Just checking if Paula is going to post a question, or was it only by mistake? Paula, if you can just maybe let me know if it was by mistake, or do you have a question? No, it seems like if, oh yeah, will this recording be available? Of course. So normally Shane is online and he's doing all this admin for me and for us. So I'll make sure that, of course, you're registered for this session. It will definitely be distributed. Just want to see. So Paula, it will definitely be distributed directly to all participants that that registered for our session. Oh, I see Shane is here, and Shane just confirmed that they will share the recording. Thank you very much. So I just want to see what we have else. Okay, so it seems like that concludes today again. Once again, thank you very much for your time. It's appreciated. You're a valued stakeholder within Wealth Migrate, and you must have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you very much.